So hello and welcome to another episode of Steam's Four Wheels, and today I want to talk about SLKs because one thing that I've noticed, and this has actually been backed up by other people saying this to me, I haven't sort of started a conversation about this is something that people have come to me to mention in passing, is why aren't SLKs like this one, my R170 SLK 230 that I bought for just £500, why aren't they actually worth more money? Now admittedly, £500 doesn't get you a lot in the world of SLKs. This particular one was only because I bought to go work in the motor trade at the time. So it was a bit of a one-off, but you can't really buy winning driving SLKs for less than £1,000. A lot of them below £1,000 you have very high mileage, or that have MOT or something like that, or something really bad or something really wrong with them. So my topic for today is just why aren't these worth more? And I think there's a few reasons for it, which we're going to delve into today. And we're also going to talk about, well, why aren't these worth more? So my first reason today is that possibly if you look at the competition for this car, you look at things like the Porsche Boxster, you look at things like the Audi TT being the Z3 of cars that were of this time when they were about. And one thing that I've noticed that those have probably got more of an image. I think probably a sporty image, and I think the SLK often gets overlooked. It isn't the sportiest car. I think there's probably better sporty cars out there. So I wonder if there are two things here that come into one. So you got this image of not being necessarily as sporty as something like a Porsche Boxster or an Audi TT, and these cars fall into the category where some people are going to buy them as weekend cars. So they want something that's a little bit more engaging. Obviously, I have my other car and I've bought this as a second car. And I think other people do that as well. And people are going to be buying these to have something boring during the week and then having something that's fun at the weekend as well. So there is a flip side to this, and there is something that is actually quite positive because actually these cars are incredibly cheap compared to the competition. For a decent sort of Z3, you'll be looking at probably 3 to 4 grand. Again, Audi TTs, you can get some for less than £1,000, but again, for a decent one, you're probably looking at maybe 2-3 grand. Upwards, depending what engine size you go for. I've seen some being advertised much as the Mark 1 anyway, with a V6, being advertised for 10 grand. So they go for various different prices. And again, a Porsche Boxster, you're going to be looking at least sort of 4 to 5 really to get into a half decent Porsche Boxster. And yet SLKs, you can get into decent ones sub 2 grand. This particular car had 105,000 miles. If I was to go and sell it, not that I would because I absolutely love it. I'd probably be looking at about sort of 2, 2.5. So it shows you really how little these cars are worth. And I also wonder whether people think that these are going to be expensive cars. They see the badge and they think that this is an expensive car to fix. It's an expensive car to maintain. And as I've proven, as I've already spoken about, it really isn't. It really isn't an expensive car to maintain. So people have been asking me this question of why they aren't worth a lot. In the next breath, they're also saying because they're such little cars, why are they worth so little? Because they're such great little cars. And I think people that own these cars, myself included, get it. We get that these are fantastic little cars. They are inexpensive to buy. You can get them on classic car insurance. Okay, tax in the UK is a little bit pricey, I'll admit. But that's just the way the tax rules are. Nothing necessary to do with this car. This car at the moment is currently in the same insurance category as my other V8 powered SL. Now, I don't quite understand that because they're such great little cars, and I have to agree with it. I have fallen for this car. I absolutely love it. And it's funny because I was always on a bit of a knife edge with it, whether I was going to keep it, whether I was going to sell it. And after 18 months now, I can't see myself without this car. And as I mentioned in the previous video recently, this was one of the reasons I actually sold my other SLK because I just love driving this car. It feels so much more analog than modern cars. It's surprising, but it also doesn't feel horrible to drive. It's a lovely car to drive. I think sometimes you hear people saying, well, I wouldn't buy a 50, 60, 70-year-old car because they're just not as nice to drive. You sort of get used to modern creature comforts. This one, you just put the key in, start up, and you can go. I do find this one likes to be warmed up from coal. That's the only thing I do find with this car. If I turn left out my driveway, there's a little bit of a hill, and I do find it struggles just a little bit. and the gearbox doesn't want to change up. But if you give it like 2 minutes just to warm up, I normally get sort of 60 degrees on the scale, and then you're fine. It just behaves normally. So, and this car is still of an age where you can work on them. They're not full of computers. There's some computers on here, probably more than a 1960s Mini, for example. It's plucking a car from thin air there, but they are so incredibly good to work on. I've done a few little jobs myself, and I've actually started to enjoy it. And I'm not a person that has ever done work on before, but because of the value of the car, because you can get cheap second-hand parts on as well, you don't have to go brand spanking new. You can always get a used part, and I've talked before about sort of the cost of new parts versus used parts, and picking your battles with that one. So why are SLKs worth so little? Well, I don't really have a definite answer to that question. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because there's got to be a reason out there, and I've already touched upon a couple in terms of the sort of perceived cost and also the perceived image of this car. That people, maybe that's why people don't buy them. I love mine, and that's all I care about really. I know other people that own them are really passionate about these cars and love theirs as well. So it's obviously something quite infectious. When you own this car and you start driving it and using it, people love them. And I have absolutely no plans on selling this car anytime soon. Uh, I just absolutely love it. Tomorrow I'm off down to Morgan factory near Malvern in this car, and the weather looks okay, so hopefully it's roof down weather. And there's nothing better than a nice summer's evening to get nice weather, getting the roof down, popping down half an hour drive down to Malvern from here. And yeah, just absolutely loving it and loving life. And it's just, I think for the money I've got in this car, what else could I get for that money? What else could I go out there and buy for the money? You couldn't buy an equivalent car, so an Audi TT, Z3, all that sort of stuff. Um, and to be honest, would I really feel much benefit? I really enjoy driving this car. I think it is a nice car. Okay, it probably hasn't got this sort of sporting edge that some of the other cars have got, but it's still a lovely car to drive. You can throw it around a little bit on country lanes. You can also, and I've done this, I've sat there on the motorway, put the cruise control at 70, and it's sat there doing 70 mile after mile after mile. So it's a proper usable car that doesn't cost a lot of money. So there's definitely a good case for SLKs of this generation. I don't understand why they're worth as much, worth as little rather. Um, so I think there's a fantastic case for SLKs, and if you want a sort of second car, something for the weekend, or you could have it as a daily driver, the SLK makes a great case for both of those as well. So I don't know why they're worth so little really. That's the long and short of it. But I'd love to hear your opinion on that. So a short little video today. I just wanted really to get an opinion out there and to see if you guys agree with that. If you disagree, if you can think of any other reasons for that, really, I'd love to hear it, and perhaps I'll do another video discussing the points that people make and the reasons that they come back with. So yeah, anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It's going to be goodbye from me, goodbye from the old SLK. It's going to be goodbye from me, goodbye from the SLK, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.